With news of the Acolyte's cancellation, there are a lot of loose threads about the short-lived show left, but it doesn't mean the story is over. While the Acolyte enthusiasts will be sad that they won't get to see Kimmer, Osha, and May's story play out on screen, there's still hope for these characters to have their story finished. Reactions to the Acolyte were widely varied, and the Star Wars TV show was even a victim of review bombing before episodes even dropped. Some Star Wars viewers dislike certain storylines in the Acolyte and cite bad writing and choppy dialogue as their biggest complaints. Others who loved the Acolyte looked past some issues the show had and immediately connected with characters like Yord, Charlie Barnett, and Master Soul, Lee Young-jae. Despite this, the Acolyte Episode 5, which featured a Jedi massacre and some of the best lightsaber duels seen in years, easily making it the show's best episode. It's disappointing that the Acolyte didn't get the chance to live up to its potential with more seasons, but the story isn't over. The Acolyte story can still wrap up, just in book form. Star Wars fans can see these characters live on. While the Acolyte won't be returning for a Season 2, there's no doubt that showrunner and creator Leslie Headland had a larger arc plan for these characters. The Acolyte Season 1 truly felt like an origin story, with Season 2 exploring Osha's place in the Sith and Jedi like Vernestra Rue navigating how to cover up Sith involvement. It wouldn't be too hard to see these ideas and story points adapted into a Star Wars novel. In fact, it would provide the characters' inner thoughts and may help audiences relate to them a little bit more. Star Wars has a long history of publishing novels that help expand audiences' knowledge of a galaxy far, far away. All books published before 2012 are part of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, also called Legends, and are no longer considered canon. Since Disney acquired Lucasfilm, certain aspects of Legends have slowly been recanonized. The Acolyte continued this trend by reintroducing Cortosis Ore, and having Darth Plagueis appear as Immune in the Acolyte Season 1 finale. With so few canon novels set before Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, adapting the Acolyte would help fill that gap. While standalone Star Wars novels are not uncommon, some of the best novels are a part of a series. Book trilogies like Timothy Zahn's Thrawn and Thrawn, Ascendancy are incredibly popular, as well as E.K. Johnston's Queen's Trilogy, which follows Padme Amidala and her loyal handmaiden Sabe. With so many new characters introduced in the Acolyte, a book trilogy or series might be the best way to wrap up all of these very complex storylines. It would also give the authors time to construct the story in a meaningful and entertaining way. It's hard to imagine that when Leslie Headland pitched and wrote The Acolyte, she didn't have an ending pictured in her mind. After all, the events of The Acolyte couldn't hinder anything that came after it in the Star Wars timeline, meaning she had to have a plan for how this story ended. Having all these plot points already established means that a book series would have direction. Instead of planning for a 2 or 3 season arc, if Headland and her team could pivot to a trilogy, they still might be able to tell the story they sought to tell.